Enjoy Easter.
100%. Yeah, happy Easter, everybody at home. It's a good place. Yeah, it's back in the office. Brock and I will do probably 30, 35 minutes and then hand it over to the boys to bring home. So our job is to try to get as far up the road as we can to make the job for the other boys a little easier.
Jamie, we love this storyline. It's the master here against the apprentice from your team alongside. Tell us about the run up here into turn one and how you're going to give it up to him.
We're teammates. We have a simple rule within Triple Eight Race Engineering: don't run into each other. So no, there's a whole team. There's 60-odd people at Triple Eight. They don't care which car wins as long as it's one of them. So we'll make sure our egos don't get the better of us and we run into each other. So no, we'll be working together here to try to have a clean start and get up the road as much as we can.
Jamie, enjoy it. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Dumpy. Cheers.
Brock Feeney, we've just heard from your teammate and your boss, Jamie Whincup. He was saying that it's about working together off the line here and not having any mess going into turn one. But do you agree with that, or are you going to pip the boss?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's obviously yesterday wasn't the result that we wanted, but starting at the front today, me and Jamie were quite fast yesterday, so the plan's to try and work together here and hopefully try and pull a gap and try and make it a little bit nicer for the boys when they get in.
Well, have a great one, Brock. Great to watch you in these cars.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
And the next car back includes one of our internationals in Max Hopper. Max, awesome job yesterday. How are you feeling in the car today? And happy Easter.
Happy Easter, everybody watching at home. Feeling good. Let's see, it's quite cold here, so warming up the tires will be important today, and let's see what we can do. The Merc is looking super fast all the weekend long, so yeah. But it's racing, so I will try to do something magical today.
It was a great start yesterday for you and Liam. All the best today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Easter Sunday, Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Let's go racing. The Fanatec World Challenge to kick off. Josh Buck and Tony Alberto joining Richard Crail in commentary. Morning, Crosby.
Matty, hope you're well. We are set. It's Easter. We've got the chocolates in the commentary box. We've got a cup of tea. We've got two superstar racing car drivers and a really entertaining race coming your way for Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia. Josh Buck and Tony D'Alberto, Super Cheap Auto TCR rivals, but best buddies in the commentary box. We're looking forward to this.
Yeah, we are, mate. This will be a cracking race. The pros are starting. Got a couple of fast Triple Eight cars off the front of the grid, who, because of their finishing position yesterday, don't have any pit stop penalty time. So it's going to be a quick race.
Good morning, Tony. Max Hoffer made the point about cold tyres. It's going to be a talking point.
Yeah, it certainly is, but those guys, those pro drivers are going to handle that with no drama whatsoever. These conditions are perfect for these cars. They're going to be super, super fast. And we're going to see some big, fast lap times out of the gate here. And it's going to be on between those pros at the front.
The pit window opens 25 minutes into the race. They'll want to keep the pros in those cars for as long as they possibly can before putting the AM driver in for the run to the flag. We had the first race of the season yesterday. There was a bit going on in this and it kicked off early, literally because there was a little bit of friendly fire between two Mercedes AMG runners. Mike Bailey, fourth car back on the outside, into the back of the Triple Eight Johor Motor Racing entry. It pointed the wrong direction, went right to the back of the field, and from there we saw a comeback trail, but it was the Audis at the front early on, Tony, who were boxing on with a Porsche in the mix as well.
Yeah, they sort of sprinted away and really stamped their authority on the race early on. Liam Talbot withheld all that pressure from Schumacher and also Yasser Shahin. So he sort of set up the race for those guys and did a fantastic job, even though Brad tried to pit a little bit later. There's a great move there by Marcel. Oh, was it Sergio, I think, down the inside, did it really well. But Liam lights to flag victory.
Yeah, really impressive job. He led early on cold tyres, pulled away, put the young Austrian driver Max Hoffer in the car. Brad Schumacher ran longer yesterday. He went a lap longer in his car just to try and do something different to the leaders, but then against the might of some of the pro drivers, he ended up P3. That was Garnett Patterson in the EMA Motorsport Porsche, slipping through to get to second. But Audi took first blood in the 2023 championship. They got roundly beaten at the 12 hour, so that'll be a nice little bit of revenge for the famous German brand. So it was a good drive. Well done to Liam Talbot with the pretty adventurous hairstyle he's got going on at the moment, and young Max Hoffer on his Bathurst debut. So they are looking strong, but so too are the JMR Mercs. Brock Feeney took us on a tour of Mount Panorama earlier in the weekend.
going on, everyone? It's Brock Feeney here, and I'm going to take you for a lap around one of the coolest tracks in the world, Bathurst, in an AMG GT3 Mercedes. Here we are at turn 1. You want to make sure you get a real good exit, because otherwise you've got to wait a long time till you get around next time. We've got a long run up Mount Straight here, very easy in these GT cars. Hands on the wheel, up on the right on the paddle shifts. Over the hump, you really feel the downforce suck you down. And we're looking for the road here to brake just after the 100. Back to third gear, carry some corner speed and try and get a good exit, all the road. And here we come up into the cutting. Just lifting off the throttle, keeping it on. Back down to second. And now the fun starts all the way up the top of the mountain. Up to third gear. Now as we come under the tree, this is where these GT cars come into their piece. Not lifting off the throttle all the way over the top of the mountain. Slight lift down into the grate. Back to full throttle. All the way up to the fence. Slight lift. Keep the throttle on. Say good day to the fans. Have a spell of the sausages. Now to Brock's Skyline. Back down to third. Back to second. And through the dipper here. Much nicer being on the left-hand side. You can get a lot closer. Now down through here into the elbow. Probably the most important corner on the track. You've got to get a good exit here. Nice and close to the inside. And get a good run. Now we can have a breather. Have a little rest. Have a drink. And chill out as we cruise up to 270 kilometers an hour. Sometimes over the bumps here, we bottom out in these cars as we've got a solid floor in them. And here we come, the fastest corner in Australian motorsport. 270, braking at the 100, back to third. Making sure we get a good run. One corner to go. Say good day to everyone up at Ridges. You do not want to blow it now. Braking after the 100, back to second, flow the speed, run it out to the exit. And there is the hot lap around Bathurst. Thanks for joining in.
That's what Mount Panorama looks like in just over 120 seconds. This is what it looks like from above. 6.2 Ks. Josh Buck in this place. Incredible.
Magic. Just watching that onboard there of Brock's. Very jealous of him. As you can see, going across the top there on the track map, over 200 Ks an hour for pretty much the entire time across the top. Down through the S's, all the way towards the elbow. The speed in which these cars travel will blow your mind, won't it, Tony?
Absolutely, through the chase there, full noise all the way through and hard on the anchors for the chase, and then reaching the last corner. As Brock said, you don't want to blow the lap right at that last corner.
We've all been there.
100%.
We've got two drivers here in the commentary box, one of them who races these cars, the other who really wants to race these cars, madly scribbling notes from that Brock Feeney lap, and Brock goes very well in a GT3 car at this place. So it's race 2 of the 23 Championship in Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. It's a global category. GT World Challenge races all the way around the world. It's got amazing events, 72 cars entered for the Total 24 Hours of Spa this year. Every single one of them GT3 cars.
How do we not have a drive?
Yeah, how do we not get a gig?
So many cars out there.
You guys need some management to make this work. Like, what's going on? I just want to be there to call it. So this is how they lined up. Qualifying 2 set the grid for this. The pro drivers did the job and they'll start this race. So it's Feeney and Whincup on the front row. Little inter-team battle there between the 888 boys. Max Hoffel will start the Audi alongside Brad Schumacher. Krista Johns, former winner of the 12-hour, goes from 5th. Garnett Patterson will start the Porsche out of P6. Garth Walden will be behind the wheel of car 45, the AMG, with Mike Sheargold. And then back to Sergio Perez. Marcus Black in the Porsche Cup car doing a really good job this weekend. Michael Kokinos, Brett Hobson a little bit further back. Ross Polakis and Sam Brabham. Scary moment yesterday for Sam in the second half of the race. Felt a vibration in that car. Peeled off the pit lane, and it turned out there was a loose wheel nut. So they got real lucky, and it was a left-hand side one as well.
Well, it was an excellent job by Sam to identify that and bring it in before it became a bigger issue. He's a bit out of place, I feel, on the grid, because his first laps in the car, in the drive, were qualifying. So he got a lot faster in the race than what he did at qualifying. I think he'll be one to watch early in the race.
Tony, what do you go through on this process now? You've driven Adrian Dietz' Lamborghini Huracan plenty of times at this place. What are you going through right now as you're trying to build some tyre temps?
These guys are just trying to get as much tyre temp as possible. They're braking, they're accelerating, and weaving as well, just to try and get some temp into the case of the tyre. As we've spoken about, there's no tyre warmers anymore, so the tyres are stone cold. And if you're here at Bathurst today, it is freezing out there, so those tyre temps will be extremely low. So you can see them trying to weave, trying to brake, anything they can do to generate tyre temperature is going to be a big benefit in these early few laps.
You can see how aggressive the weaving was then from our overseas friend Max, just trying to do whatever he can in those few corners, because as you can see, safety car lights are out, and as I well know now, you cannot weave after the safety car lights go out.
We've got a couple weaving in the background.
We do. I don't want to throw them under the bus like my mate James Moffat did to me, but anyway, that's another story.
Racing car drivers keep a grudge, I tell you what. So we're looking forward to this. It looks bright and sunny, and it is. It's a beautiful morning in Bathurst, but it is cold. 9.9 degrees at the moment. The feels like is 3, and it is freezing, and the breeze is even frostier. So they're going to have to work hard in this one. A couple of Mercs on the front row. Feeney and Whincup. How cool is this to see? One of the greats of Australian touring car racing up against the bright rising star of our sport, and then a Euro young gun. That's what GT3 racing is all about. And they'll go side by side. The red lights will go out and race 2. The Fanatec GT World Challenge is away. Watch the Porsche. Good jump from Patterson. He's trying to get his car down to the inside at held corner. Sweeping around the outside was Whincup. In a battle of those 2 888 cars, good luck picking them apart. They're still trying to get tyre temp and pressure on the run-up Mountain Straight, but everyone through cleanly.
Yep, that's Whincup in the lead. He had the headlights on coming towards turn 1, so he got the jump there. Very kind of them as teammates to give each other enough room, and Patterson around the outside, that's probably not going to work so early. But nice clean start, cleaner than yesterday, so that's well behaved by everyone.
You see Patterson there with his lights flashing, trying to get past Hoffa these early laps with the cold tyre. He wants to try and latch on the back of the 888 cars and try and go with them. And as we've spoken about, for this weekend, it's all about learning for that team and for Garner himself. First laps around Bathurst was early in practice where he had a little bit of an oops, and he's just been progressing every time since then.
I love the flashing lights as a driver. I mean, what are you going to do? Pull over and let them by because you're flashing?
I get pretty scared. I get pretty scared when you do that to me.
Across the top they go for the first time. Good start from Patterson, up 2 spots. And the name of the game for these pro drivers out in front now is to get themselves in the best possible position for later in the race when the amateur driver, the non-professional, will jump in. And after yesterday, there's a little bit of success penalty that comes with winning in GT World Challenge. So you get pit stop time. So the time you have to stay in the lane is longer if you win. As a result, the 888 cars out in front, they didn't have a great day. 100 seconds is their mandatory pit stop time. But the Shannon's Audi that won, 115 seconds. So Max Hoffa needs to get his head down now and pull away as fast as he possibly can. The problem is, for Max Hoffa, he's racing Jamie Whincup and Brock Feeney, which is not an easy thing to do.
No, and as we saw yesterday in the timing, they proved to be the quick guys in the field. So if you kind of zoom out of race 1 and look at race 1 and 2 as a whole, getting turned around could have been a bit of a blessing in disguise for these guys. They had an excellent comeback in the race, and now look, they're in the lead 1-2. So not all bad news. As a driver, when you get turned around, you have to deal with these things. You have to recover and look at things objectively, and this has not turned into a bad run. A big dive there.
That's Garth Wall.
That's good gear, isn't it? Well done, Garth. Nice work. On the ABS, that was a lock the brake there.
So Garth gets down the inside of Christa Johns in the number 75 Jamet Racing Audi. Great to see them back in the sport. Jeff Emery and that team run by Melbourne Performance Centre and Audi Custom Sport Racing Australia had a lot of success in this category. Jeff went off to race Porsche GT3 Cup cars. Had a really good season last year and now back in the GT car. It was a real last-minute deal, but got a gun co-driver, the German, who won the 2012 Bathurst 12-hour, so he goes all right at this place, and they're starting to build. That was a nice move by Walden. And in these cars, Tony, you can go really late, can't you, with the braking performance and the downforce these things have got.
Yeah, I mean, it's super impressive to see him, make that move so early in the race. It'll be hard on the ABS, but ABS only does so much. If the tyre grip isn't there available, you'll end up just spearing into the door of the other car. So it probably relied on Johns to actually, give him a little bit of room and, fight another day. So it's just, you know, these guys are really trying to get their position now because it's so crucial on these cold tyres before the race sort of settles down. You'll sort of see everyone settle into a rhythm, into a pace, and you probably won't see a huge amount more passing like we have at the start. Yeah,
and it's a brave move too, because these cars are not designed to bump and grind, are they? No. They're designed to go very quickly and rely on the aerodynamics and the bars and the bumpers and the skirts to make them go fast. This is interesting here, and Audi actually taking a bit of ground out of the Mercedes-Benz down the straight. We haven't seen that all weekend, have we? Around the outside. Wow. Okay, fair enough.
All that work that Garth's just done has just been undone now, and now he's going to have another crack at it. Yeah, quite interesting to see the pace difference. I mean, all these cars, they've all got their own strengths and weaknesses, and that's what we love about GT racing. Some are a little bit quicker across the top of the mountain. Generally, the Audis are very good under brakes. That's where their strength is. Short corners. The Mercedes-Benz, very, very stable in the rear. So across the top of the mountain, generally you'd see those cars come into their own. They fill the drive with a lot of confidence because the engine's in the front and the car's so settled in the rear. So it gives those AM drivers especially that little bit more confidence to attack and not have to worry about an engine that's sitting behind you trying to overtake you as you turn to the corner.
You've raced the Mercedes-Benz as well, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah. Just any GT cars you haven't raced?
I've driven the Ferrari, I've driven the Mercedes, the Audi, the Lambo.
All right.
No Porsche.
Oh, wow, okay.
So let's give that a crack next.
Been in a Bentley?
No, I haven't driven the Bentley, no, I haven't actually. So.
You just own one.
No, his Daly's a Honda, come on. So this is a good battle, and your point, I like Josh Buchan about the fact that it's rare to see an Audi passing anything in a straight line, and it's a fair point because the Audis are not known for being the quickest car in a straight line. The Merc generally is one of the quicker cars down Conrod, but that's the joy of balance of performance. Across the top, you want to be in an R8 because it traditionally has been the quickest car, but for those that might not be familiar, the Audi this weekend running at 1,320 kilos, the Merc is 25 kilos heavier, but they still produce all their speed differently. We'll follow up on that in a minute. In the meantime, let's get down to the lane and say good morning to Molly Taylor.
Good morning, boys. Well, I've found Liam Talbot. Happy Easter, firstly. Secondly, congratulations for yesterday. So far, so good with this team up with Max. He's doing a great job out there.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure to race with Max and the entire Audi team. And yeah, happy Easter to everyone. And we got the race win yesterday, so really good way to celebrate Easter.
And we were just chatting, well, how cold it is here, but also watching the cars going out for that warm-up lap. In these temperatures, how long does it take to get good temp into these tyres, and how hard is that process?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's probably like 5 or 6 laps to get temp, but yesterday we're getting temp over the top, and then we go down the long straight, and then we lose all our temp. So yeah, we're getting a little bit of grading on the tyres, and once you get that, you can't get rid of it. So we're trying to make a few tweaks, and hopefully we'll be a bit stronger.
And you've got a bit of a success penalty today because of yesterday, so you're going to be stopping for, I think, another 15 seconds than those 888 cars in front of you when you come in to do the driver change. What do you think you can do today with that?
I think it just creates exciting racing. Like you said, 15 seconds, so staying stationary for a bit longer than we want, but that's what happens when you win a race. And doing the calculations, I've got a few cars to overtake, so probably 3 or 4 to overtake, but just great, exciting racing, and, you know, I can't wait.
Have a good one, Liam. Thanks.
Thank you.
There's Liam Talbot talking about that second half of the race when he jumps in. So it'll be Liam against Yasser Shahin in the Porsche, and then Abu Ibrahim and Jeffrey Ibrahim in the 2 Johor Motor Racing 888 Merc. So it's going to be really exciting. The pros traditionally a little bit more evenly matched in terms of their ultimate lap speed. There tends to be a little bit more variation between the various amateur drivers. So that's part of the joys of GT3 racing. That's what we love about it. Looking forward to seeing what the Shannon's Audi can do in the second half of this
What
one.
he said about tyres was really interesting, because I'm just looking at the lap time board, and Whincup obviously sort of dropped the hammer a little bit at the start and pulled a nice gap, which he's currently got. But Feeney, who we know is certainly a match for Whincup for speed, was a few tenths behind in each sector, but it's actually starting to come back the other way now. Brock's starting to take a little bit of ground out of Jamie, and I wonder if that's just maybe thinking long-term for your tyre life, so that you're not taking too much out of it at the very start. It is an hour race. You do have a teammate you have to give the car to, so it's not just all about yourself when you get in, as we like to think. So perhaps there's a little bit of thought behind that, as both of them Well, yeah, Feeney drops into the 3s and Whincup to the 4-2. So
that's a very good lap time. We saw them into the 3s yesterday afternoon, but that was with a lot less fuel on board. Obviously, the tyre condition for these guys, they would have started with new tyres, so it sort of balances out, you know, the little bit more fuel but better tyre condition. So I'm not surprised they've dipped into the 3s already. But your point about tyre pressures is just so critical. We saw, you know, Brett Hobson really come out of the gate strong, and he's starting to struggle a little bit now with the guys putting a bit of pressure on him. So maybe there's a little bit there to the pressures, just trying to get them right.
It was an interesting point as well, and this is something we saw at the 12-hour that Liam made about the fact that you generate tyre temperature across the top. So as long as there's some lateral force going through the tyre, it's building pressure and building temperature. But when you're going down Conrod, there's none of that, and it drops temperature and pressure. So what happens when you get to the chase, to the left-hander, and you whack that brake pedal and hope that there's grip when you turn in?
I tell you what, the tyres know all about it when you jump on that brake pedal into the chase. Like, huge amount of force coming through the car, and you're trying to pull the car up from 260 k's down to, you know, 120 or 30 going through the left-hander at the chase. So it's you know, the pressures and the forces going through those tyres is absolutely critical. But you know, the engineers will be working that out, and they'll be working out a tyre strategy, you know, knowing all this information.
Let's go down to Stubbsy.
Well, I'm going to make this quick because I could be in a little bit of trouble, because the Princes were both huddled around the heater trying to warm themselves up before they get in the car. It is cold out here at the moment. Prince Abu, you're in the lead of the race, and obviously the further he's out, the better for you. How's your approach to it at the moment?
Yeah, just trying to maximize everything that I can around here, and yeah, hopefully we'll get some good results.
Jeffrey, for you, you've had a little bit more experience here at the mountain. What a great opportunity for the two of you to lead a race at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, I mean, the race is still a long way to go, so I think by the time we get in the car, we just have to put our head down and keep on pushing till the end, you know, and hopefully we'll get a good result.
Well, that's the thing too, you know, there's some pretty talented AMs that will be chasing you guys hard, won't there? The pack will close up.
Yeah, I'm not going to think about that, to be honest. I think I'm just going to think of doing my stuff in the car, and whoever's behind, I'm just going to let them be behind and try to focus on my race instead of focusing on others.
All right, well, all the best this afternoon for the rest of the race. Get back to that heater.
Thank you, mate.
Great to see. They're great guys, so passionate about their motor racing, and the reason they're cold is because, and I just checked, in Johor right now, it's the bottom end of Malaysia, not far from Singapore. It's currently 25 degrees and 94% humidity.
Wow.
So the 10 degrees and 0 humidity we've got here at the moment might be a little bit of a shock to the system, but the two boys are doing a great job. They've got a massive program this year. They're running campaigns both in GT World Challenge Australia and in Asia. So they're bouncing back and forth. They've got cars up there to run in the Asian campaign as well. Huge campaign, and the more driving they're doing, the quicker and quicker the two of them are getting.
Yeah, they're just building their experience. They take their racing so seriously. You know, they're always doing a lot of fitness, getting ready. As we see, Yasser Shahin there just warming up those shoulders and going through his pre-race ritual. You know, it is cold out there, and then you fire into a race car and you expect it to perform. So I'm liking some of these little exercises that he's doing just to warm up the muscles and get ready.
Speaking of Yasser, his teammate Garnet, who you know we both know quite well and rate very highly, has just thrown the fastest lap of the race at a 2:03.95. Not really surprised, to be honest. Garnet's a really good operator, and it's, I think, as I mentioned yesterday, it's no surprise to see him with more dry running, just going quicker and quicker, and he's certainly good enough to do the job, which we're seeing now.
I think Feeney is getting held up a little bit here by Jamie. I think his tyre pressures are coming into their own there, and to be able to follow a GT car that closely. Oh, they've actually done a reverse here.
They've swapped.
Bit of team strategy. We didn't see that.
I'm a little bit gun-shy about this because at a race at the Bend last year, there were two identical-looking AAA cars, and I had picked that they'd swapped, and it was a little bit of team play there that Whincup let Feeney go, and it was team play because he saw that his teammate was quicker. So timing shows 888 now in front of 88, and Feeney's been punching out. In fact, last time around, he was almost a second quicker. But you're right, Patterson was the fastest driver on the racetrack, 3.5 for the Porsche. And if we learned anything about that car in particular, is that over a stint, that Porsche is very, very good, because that very car at the Bathurst 12-hour with Matt Campbell behind the wheel very nearly won the race with a really impressive drive at the end of that race. Let's go back down to Molly.
Well, yes, Shaheen, we're just watching Garnet Patterson doing an awesome job out there, up a couple of spots, fastest lap of the race so far. So you have to be happy with how this new partnership's going so far.
Yeah, he's doing an awesome job in this car. Neither of us have had a lot of time in it, but I think it's going as well as it can be. We've got a big pit stop penalty, but we'll see what I can do when I get in.
And jumping from the Audi into the Porsche, how are you finding that? What are the key differences between the two cars?
Oh, look, it's still a learning experience. The Porsche is just, I think it feels much more alive to drive, but it's definitely weaker over the top, but punchier out of the corners. So I know it's a real handful, but a lot of fun to drive.
And we were just seeing you before doing some of your warm-ups before you get into the car. When it's a day like this and this cold, is that warm-up process a little bit longer or a bit different?
Oh, not really. We just need to activate the muscles and get ready. It's just absolutely freezing on this Bathurst. Bathurst always seems to turn on the weather, doesn't it?
It does. I bet you're looking forward to getting in and warming up. Best of luck.
Yeah, can't wait. Thanks.
I don't know, it's lovely in the commentary box at the moment. He mentioned the pit stop penalty, 110 seconds for this car. So that compares to 115 for the Talbot Hoffer Shannon's Audi that they're pursuing at the moment, but 10 seconds longer than those two AMGs in front. So there's going to be a job for Yasser to do. Right now, nothing in it. Brock Feeney punches out a 2:03.3 in the race lead. 9/10 quicker than Jamie Whincup. That's why they swapped them around. Clear pace advantage now for 888 over 88. I wonder if that had something to do, the fact that Whincup went out so hard early in that session, and the tyres have come back a little bit, and now Feeney's got an advantage as we watch Brad Schumacher, who's the leading AM driver, in 6th position.
Schumacher's doing a great job there. He's just looking after his tyres. He's up against it against some of these pros. But as we mentioned yesterday, he's going to stay in the car the entire time. I'm hoping he pulled up well from yesterday's 1 hour race, because it's quite physical around here. He's pushing as absolutely hard as he can the entire race. He doesn't get half an hour of the race off just to sit in the pits and do some warm-up activating muscles. He's out there the whole time, so he's got a big challenge ahead of him, but he's definitely up to the task.
How do you guys go activating muscles? Is that a thing you do before a TCR race?
If one of our great friends, Renato Liberto, former GT3 racer, is listening, he rips into me all the time for some of the stuff I eat and drink about it being activated. So, yeah.
I don't want to know about that.
What, you don't like activated pumpkin seeds, activated oat milk, all that sort of stuff? No, look, it is a big thing, because you don't want to have a shock to your body when you go out in the car and tense right up. You kind of want to be a bit loose, right? You want to have a bit of blood flow and you know, feel ready for what you're about to do, which is, you know, some very, very fast car driving.
Stubbsy?
Ross Palakis alongside me. Ross, your weekend, you've had a lot of fun. You've brought Sam Brabham on board. How's this race panning out for you?
Look, it's an interesting stage of the race at the moment. Sam's doing quite well. As I said, first time GT3 car around Bathurst, so he's getting better and better with each session. Personally, I'm doing my best times that I have for my previous times that I've been here, so I'm really happy with that. We'll just keep that going and see what happens.
What Sam brought to the team, such experience and the Brabham name and everything that comes with that.
Oh, look, definitely experience. I've been working with Sam personally for a long time with some driver coaching as well, so we've got that relationship. Having his dad here, David, as well, as that added sense of you know, support, and you know, I'm just like a sponge, just learning off him consistently.
Well played. We'll let you get the helmet back on. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
It's Ross Palakis, lovely guy from the Harold's business down in Melbourne. Very, very successful department store that's been part of the fabric down there for a long time. Like that, fabric? They've been very, very good, but very big good supporters of motor racing. And Ross has not raced much at all, but he's rapid as an AM driver. So it's a good combo, and Sam's up to 10th position. He's chasing Brett Hobson. He's done a low 5 in this race, so the pace is definitely there in the Harold's Racing Valente Rosso AMG GT3. This team will go to 2 cars from the next round of the championship, which is great. Chris Baxios, who'll step up from GT4, will be joined by Chelsea Angelo in the 2nd AMG. So great combination. Be cool to see Chelsea get a drive in this series.
Yeah, great to see the Harold's guys, you know, giving a couple of drivers a chance to, you know, show what they've got in GT3, and Sam's done a great job. Kept the car clean. I think he's being held up a little bit by Hobbo at the moment, but very, very tough to come here. And Sam ran a bit wider.
He did.
In the curve.
I'm
just going to stop.
He got a little bit out of sequence there. Hey, it's great to have you know, Chelsea Angelo joining the championship, but I hear on the grapevine that there's going to be another female join the grid as well.
There is, Tony.
Rosie?
You've been reading wideworldofsports.com, broken yesterday by Simon Chapman, that Renee Gracie will make her racing return in GT World Challenge. This is just a look at that swap between the two 888 cars.
Brock's just really good on the brakes there. I don't think that was staged at all, was it?
Smart play, isn't it? That clearly the 888 car was quicker at that point of the race, and Jamie's old and wise enough now to know that he needed to let him go.
He's just thrown a 3-0 at it. That's disgusting. Slow down.
How's the jealous talk here from Josh Buchan?
He was showing off yesterday, and he's just continued on with it today.
3-0.
Anyway, getting back to Renee.
Well, we'll come back to that because the pit window is about to open, so we're not far away from seeing pit stops. But yeah, she'll be racing. Team car yet to be confirmed, but she'll be back in the championship, which is great. So her circuit racing career started in GT-style cars in Porsche Carrera Cup Australia. So a couple of seasons there before moving into Super 2, and then a couple of starts in the Bathurst 1000. So that was announced yesterday. Young Simon broke that news, and it's gone fairly viral. It's been very, very well read. It's a great story. So 32 minutes to go. We will hear from Renee a little bit later on in the show this morning. So keep it on Stan Sport. Live and at break free all the way today to the conclusion of the Hi-Tech Oils Bathurst 6 Hour as we watch this battle for third. Max Hoffer under pressure from Garnett Patterson, who's driven really well. And that Porsche right in the mix. And there's only 5 seconds between the top 4 cars in this race.
I reckon they've got that Patterson Porsche just tuned up a little bit better today. You know, first race for those guys as a team, I suppose, with Garnett and Yasser together. You know, and the driver's feedback is so crucial. So, you know, their experience in the car is going to grow, and what that car needs to go fast. So I think they've unlocked a little bit of speed in that car because he's certainly pretty rapid now.
How are these cars in the dirty air to follow? So obviously Garnett's quite close. Is he going to be affected by some turbulent air behind that Audi?
Yeah, 100%. Especially across the top of the mountain. Any time where you're really leaning on the car, he's close enough now that his wind is getting disturbed, and he's clearly quicker than the Audi in front. If he could get by, you'd see him sort of disappear. But now's the real hard bit, trying to get close enough and then actually make that passing manoeuvre. Oh, Ferrari, I've driven one of them.
No, of course you have. Of course you have. What a car, though. Naturally aspirated 458 Ferrari. Easily the best sounding car
in the world.
In the world. Never heard of RB26 on the gate, have you, Krause?
No, I haven't. No, I prefer the Ferrari. That's all me. Yeah, great car, 2014 12-hour winner. That car, there was a period early in the 12-hour in 2013 when the late, great Alan Simonson was driving one of those cars, and it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and he was out just demolishing lap records for fun, and he was the only car in a 20-second window, and the noise just echoed around the mountain. It's pretty special. There's a lot to be said about turbocharging, and it's amazing for efficiency, but there's nothing like a naturally aspirated V8 screaming away.
I remember when I went from driving the Ferrari that screams to jumping into the Mercedes, where the sound is a lot quieter and it's got a lot of torque in the engine, and you feel like you're actually not going half as quick. You know, it's a very different sort of sensation. So these leaders now just coming up to the back of some lap vehicles, and they're trying to get out of the way. It's a pretty difficult place, especially across the top of the mountain, to try and sidestep and give room to some of these guys who are probably not as patient as what other AM drivers are.
Well, that was a really good job from Stephen Coe to get out the way at Skyline. Just bail out, let the fast guys go through rather than force them to get aggressive. So if you're Max Hoffer, you need to get through. And this young guy races at the Nürburgring in the VLN series. So there you get carved up or carve up left, right and centre. So really smart driving from the lap cars just to get out of the way and make sure they preserve their own race. We're not far away from the pro cars pitting, by the way.
Ash Samadi there just taking his pit stop. I saw some interesting footage on social media yesterday of Ash unfortunately taking out his stop man, Lee Stamation, who's my fitness trainer, so I know him pretty well. And he went right over the bonnet and ended up almost in orange. It was that hard he got hit, but it was quite a decent hit. So, yeah, it's great to see Ash back in the championship. Probably maybe a little bit rusty. And, yeah, he made it a little bit difficult for Lee at the pit stop yesterday.
And there'll be stops this lap. So it's a 10-minute window to get the pit stops done and dusted, and it closes in about 3 minutes. So they'll need to bail into pit lane. Oh, it's actually a little bit longer than that. They might get one more in. So Brad Schumacher rolls into pit lane in car 55. Schumacher Motorsport Audi. Patterson, he's looking racy, isn't he? He'd love to just sneak one by Max Hoffer in that Audi before they roll into pit lane.
It's a skill in itself, navigating the slower cars, and it can really turn your race on its head if you get the rub of the green, passing a car in the right spot relative to catching it in a poor spot. So very, very important for these guys. And sometimes you know, if your strategist can see ahead of you that there's cars on the track that you're going to have to pass very shortly, it might be worth actually coming in a lap earlier than planned to get out of the traffic. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone's going down that route as we've got more and more cars starting to filter into the lane.
I wonder if Brock Feeney's on an in-lap because he's gone purple, quickest of anybody in the race to the first sector, and his middle sector's pretty special too, so he's pushing hard. And those in-laps and out-laps can often be the difference, can't they? They can make or break a race.
Every little bit counts, especially when those guys are right at the front of the field and everyone's operating at a very high level, especially the team as well. So the pit stop's very crucial. The driver's done their bit now, but when they come in the pits, that's when the crew get their time to shine. They've been practicing in their garages, back at the workshop, trying to get this process you know, really seamless and clean. They've got quite a bit of time, but sometimes things just go wrong, and it's not as easy as what it looks from sitting on your couch at home. It's the high pressure stakes, and everything's hot and bothered, and it's quite easy to make a mistake.
So Feeney and Whincup and Hoffer and Patterson all go round again. They're trying to maximise the amount of time the pro drivers are behind the wheel. You're watching Sergio Perez jump out, Marcel Zalua jump into the Valmont racing car. They started the year in a Merc AMG. Unfortunately, a really hefty crash at the top of the mountain in the 12 hour this year wrote that car off, so they've sourced an Audi R8 for the remainder of the season. And that stunning livery that those guys have been rolling. They love being part of the paddock, Marcel and Sergio. They are great characters, pair of mates from Sydney who have been in business for a long time together and went racing together. They started in Porsche Sprint Challenge racing and moved across to GT so they could race the same car and go team racing. But they put together a really good program and love being at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, no, it's going from the best sounding car in the Ferrari to probably the best looking in that Tagani Motorsport Valmont Audi. Yeah, followed by the best hairdo in the lane with those guys too. They're all style points, those gents. So great to see them having a nice clean run.
I think Serge could definitely be a male model if he tried. He's got that look about him.
Let him know you said that, Tony. I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Can you tell we're after a gig?
Any drive will do. These two just want to drive in a GT3 car as we watch the Invitational class leader, Jeff Taunton, in the Mark II racer, roll down into pit lane for his compulsory pit stop.
What looks better, boys? The Mark Mustang or the Gen 3?
Oh.
Is that going to be controversial?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know what the answer is.
I think my microphone's broken.
I reckon definitely the Shell Gen 3.
Yeah, okay. Particularly the one with the Shell logo on it. Yeah, okay.
I was just about to comment, it's a tough-looking car, isn't it? The confuser out the back.
Yeah,
awesome.
They've done a great job with that car. And by all accounts, one car I haven't driven, boys, but apparently it's a beautiful car to drive.
Jeez.
It's a list of cars, just ticking them off, isn't it?
I've got a decent list, but just zero GT3 cars, which Tony loves reminding me.
Oh, dear.
The leaders go around again. They are pushing this right to the end of the pit stop window. Brock Feeney, Jamie Whincup and Max Hoffer.
Well, they'll probably have to be in this lap.
It'll have to be this lap.
Otherwise, they're going to breach their CPS. So I would suggest pit lane is about to get rather busy.
It's crazy how much Feeney has pulled away from Jamie. I mean, I think it has to be come down to pressures, tyre pressures. They were so evenly matched in qualifying, and yesterday's race I felt Jamie probably had the edge just slightly over Feeney, but in this morning's race he's just absolutely disappeared. So very impressive performance.
He's got his teammate strategy. Old Van Geers of maybe just cool the jets for a little bit at the start and leave a little bit for later in your stint. So that's well run if that was the plan by Brock and his engineering team.
Let's go down to the DBA Chase and have a look, and that is the Harold's Racing entry just running off the road. So Ross Palaka's just taken over car 101.
Very easy to do there. Just miss your braking marker by a fraction and don't quite pull it up for
That
the
was
chase.
pretty early in his stint. I wonder if, because he did the first stint yesterday on the green tyre, now he's in for the second stint, I wonder if the tyre grip he may have caught him out there relative to what he had yesterday. So it's easy to do.
It's so hard to jump into these cars in the middle of a race. You know, I think it's actually easier to start the race and build up on your speed. But then to jump into a race like this where everyone's already going, you know, flat out, they've got their eye in, and you sort of jump straight into a battle, it's not easy.
I think that was on his outlap. So not only old tyres, but ones that have been sitting stationary in pit lane for a minute as well. So bleeding pressure and temperature.
And like we mentioned, we sing Ross's praises in their Guilty Chocolates AMG, because he has done such an amazing job after such a short amount of time in the car to be as quick as what he is. I think in 12 or 18 months we'll really see how fast he can actually go.
All right, here we go. All the leaders in the lane now. So the pro drivers jump out and it becomes a race of the AM. So Abu Ibrahim and Jeffrey Ibrahim will jump behind their two cars, 888 and Johor Motor Racing. Yasser Shahim will jump behind the wheel of the Porsche, and Liam Talbot behind the wheel of the 65 Shannon's Audi. It's hard to pick them apart. They're all rocking the Red Bull factory helmet. Remember, Jeffrey Ibrahim was presented with that, and he's now a Red Bull driver. In fact, he and Brock Feeney went over to do a camp in our summer, their winter over there in Austria over the off-season to fitness training and preparation. So all part of the Red Bull driver program. And I remember Jeffrey was presented with that last year and was thrilled to be a Red Bull-backed driver. So he rocks the helmet. And Abu Ibrahim will jump behind the wheel of his car that he's sharing with Jamie Whincup.
It is very cool, but you have to lose your helmet design.
I'd be happy to.
I think you'd be okay
Absolutely
with that,
happy
to. You wouldn't be allowed to. You're in the wrong team for that.
I am. I very much am. But I would, if somebody wanted to take over my helmet, I would let them have it. Go for it.
So 100 seconds for the two 888 cars stationary time.
Getting ready.
Revs, yeah. Warm the rev temps up. There he goes.
And there was 4 seconds between them, so there's a little bit of time difference, but it strikes me that there's an issue in car 88.
Yeah, that's not going to plan.
And very close to being jumped by the Porsche, so they've lost time. That was longer than 100 seconds. 100 seconds was the time for that car. So a bit of an issue there. So Abu Ibrahim will be behind the 8 ball. There's Garnett Patterson's car now with Yasser Shahin behind the wheel.
Yep, you got a very quick bronze or AM driver in Yasser behind that Mercedes-Benz. It's a pretty good carrot dangling for him, so he'll have the eyes on, and I think this last 20 minutes he'll be pressing it as hard as he can.
And now Liam Talbot back behind the wheel of his Shannon's Audi. G'day to Fraser Ross, who's watching on. It's his usual seat.
All right, so who we're looking for here, guys? Obviously, Talbot is in the mix and not too far away from the front two. Who else can we look at that's going to come through the field late in this race?
Well, I think Yasser Shahin has proven over the last couple of years that he is ultimately the quickest AM driver in the country at the moment. He's won the last 2 GT World Challenge titles in the Audi. Still getting up to speed in the Porsche, as we heard from before, but he's got the ground to make up, but looking forward to seeing what he can do against the Princes in those 2 Mercedes. So I think for this one, car 1, I reckon, slight favourite, if not for the fact that he doesn't have track position.
Just looking even on his outlap, I mean, no brakes over over McPhillamy. I mean, the bravery to do that on your outlap, fresh, as he goes for the move, he's got plenty of pace. He sells himself short by saying that they're getting used to it and all this stuff. Very political. They're good to go.
I reckon Jeff Emery's going to be one to watch as well. You spoke earlier, Krause, about his pedigree and what he's done in his car racing, and he's achieved a hell of a lot. Lots and lots of national titles. Basically everything that he sits his backside in, he eventually wins the championship. So he's a very safe pair of hands, and he's done a lot of GT racing, especially in that Audi. So although he's back into the championship this weekend and probably was a last-minute deal, the cars haven't changed that much, so he'll get himself back up to speed. So I think as the race goes on here, he'll play into this final podium position.
We'll give you a lap time check as they come through and give you the margin. So Shahin across the line, 14 seconds behind Jeffrey Ibrahim, and that's the difference between basically the pit stops between those 2 cars. It was 110 seconds for the number 1 Porsche, and it was 100 seconds for the 888 Mercedes AMG, and there was about 4 seconds of track position. So that's almost exactly where they were when they came into the lane. And now Yas has got the job to do. Can he find 14 seconds in 21 minutes of racing to get to the back of car 888? That's where the battle is.
Well, look, anything can happen with the traffic that we're inevitably going to have. So 14 seconds sounds like an eternity, but all you need are 2 or 3 spots where you catch a car in the wrong place, and that can be 2 or 3 seconds apiece. All of a sudden, you're right within striking distance. And also, we don't want to go the early crow here, but what if there's a safety car? Then that resets everything, and it's all back on. So still plenty of racing to go in the last 18 minutes.
Let's go on board here now with Liam Talbot. As we mentioned yesterday, super experienced. No throttle lift through there, or not much at all. Very impressive. Who are we on board here?
It's the 888 car, so Abu Ibrahim a little bit further up the road. GT3 racing's so cool because, so this car, 6.2 litre V8, it's basically mid-mounted. It's a long way behind the front wheels, but then the howl of the mid-mount rear-engine V10 Audi R8 chasing it down. Stubbsy?
You've got the start, you've still got to talk us through that first stint.
Yeah, the car was good right at the start. I think our pressures were a little bit higher than the other car, so we got away with the first lap or two, but Brock's very, very fast around here. He's the flavour of the month at the moment. So, he did a great job. I let him through, and then just pushed hard. We had a little bit of an error at the pit stop here. Couldn't quite get a seatbelt clipped in correctly, so we lost 5 seconds, so that probably means our podium, but anyway, we'll keep fighting. But the 888 car is out in front. It's got 15 seconds. It's going to be close, but hopefully he can hang on.
And what's been the message to your co-driver for this weekend in terms of his development?
Oh, have some fun, really. They've had a bit of a rough run towards the end of last year. We had a rollover here, and then a fairly decent impact at Adelaide. So this weekend's about getting the confidence back, having some fun, and just enjoying these $750,000 cars around one of the best tracks in the world.
Mate, great to see you, and hopefully you can hang on, maybe get that podium.
Thanks, Ozzy. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Well, Garnet, you had an awesome first stint. Handed it to Yasser. He's just got himself up to second so far, so you've got to be happy with how this partnership's going so far.
Yeah, so far so good. Obviously, didn't qualify where we really wanted to be. We made some pretty wholesale changes last night to the car, and it really improved it there. So we're very strong in different spots. Obviously, the battle was with the Audi. Couldn't really get it done, so just decided to save the tyres, and hopefully it comes to Yasser at the end. The car's in a good window, so I think coming into the race, he might be hunting down.
And how much are you enjoying this car, and where are your strengths and weaknesses, and what have you got to still work on?
Yeah, really enjoying it. It's quite an enjoyable car to drive. It's very, very nervous, which is nice. It's like a prototype, so to speak. We're a bit weak over the top, to be honest, which is where we thought we'd be strong, but we're very strong down the bottom of the track, especially the chase in the last 2 corners. So I think yeah, towards the end of the race, Yas is going to have some fun.
And it's first round of the season, new partnership. As you say, you've got still areas to improve with the car. So what can we expect for the year ahead?
Yeah, massively. Obviously, we really didn't have any testing coming into this week, so I think we'll regroup after this weekend, do some testing, and then hopefully come back pretty strong.
We'll let you keep watching the race. Thanks, Garnet.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks to Molly as well. He's a really level-headed, smart, intelligent young guy racing this year in Porsche Painted Dixon Carrera Cup with EMA Motorsport 2-car program. Teammate Chris Pither, Pilatus backing on his car this year. So it's really cool to see him back in Australia. He spent a lot of time overseas racing, has Garnet, but really highly racing.
Where do you think they're going to do their testing? Where would they get track time to do that?
Any thoughts? I don't know. Maybe the site. Yeah, well, it's part of the portfolio. So yeah, they could.
Great partnership. Obviously, Yasser well proven. Garnet internationally rated. Driven for Andretti overseas in prototypes. So yeah, a little bit of oversteer won't worry him at all.
Let's talk about that. It says the car's a little bit nervous. Just explain that for the audience at home.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a great feeling to have around Bathurst, especially across the top of the mountain. So I'm not surprised that that's where their weakness is. If the car's a little bit edgy or nervous in the rear, when they try and turn the car to the corner, the rear just won't follow where the front wants to go, and you end up getting a little bit of oversteer or opposite lock. You really want a car around the top of the mountain especially to be really planted in the rear, really secure, predictable. If they haven't quite got that yet, as a driver, you just naturally can't push quite as hard. So, I mean, it sounds like they've made gains with that today, and clearly the car's quite fast, but that's where they can keep improving that car, and that will just come down to how they tune the car. It's all there. It's just whether, you know, they know what to change to make the difference.
And it's a balance, isn't it? Because the old saying, loose is fast, is true, but for an AM driver, you don't want the car to be nervous. You want it to be really comfortable for them to get the most out of it.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to try and get right. Obviously, on the flash there is Ross. Obviously, as Tony mentioned, if the getting very racy they are there. As Tony mentioned, if the rear of the car is loose, it kind of puts you off for the entire.
Just holding our breath to make sure it came out the other side.
Yeah.
Look, a loose car is good for qualifying. There's no doubt about that. It's sharp. It's
because the green tyre can sort of bring you along.
Exactly. But as the tyre starts to go away during the race, a loose car just gets worse and worse and worse. It gets exaggerated. So it's probably not the nicest feeling. And I know from doing some of this sort of racing, the AM driver traditionally likes the cars a little bit more planted in the rear. So you do have to set your car up a little bit different in race trim, especially. Qualifying, you can make it nice and sharp and use that green tyre. But quality, you need to pull it back.
Last time round, Jeffrey Ibrahim 209.0, Yasser Shahin 207.3, Liam Talbot 205.4.
It's not over.
So all condensing at the pointy end of the field. So the guy in third is quicker than the guy in second, who's quicker than the guy in first. I've heard this story before at this place this year. Stubbsy?
Sam Brabham alongside me. I tell you what, we were holding our breath there with that move from Ross. You've taught him everything he knows.
I saw him flashing the lights and he's got up to the cutting and I didn't think he was actually going to make the move. And we're waiting, watching the screen and no one's come through the kink yet. I was just like stressing out massively.
Mate, you've had a great time with Ross. You get on very well. We spoke to him before he jumped in. He just talked about what he's learning from you. What have you seen in his development?
Yeah, look, last year he was on his own, and he had Jordan Love last year for one of the rounds, and obviously he did the 12-hour, which is a great learning experience for him. But coming into this year, we kind of decided that we needed to work together. For me to step up to GT3, but also for him to have a pro to really work off, and you can see the benefits. He's got, I think, nearly a second quicker than he did at the 12-hour, so he's making massive improvements.
How much fun have you had this weekend as part of this 6-hour event?
It's been incredible. Like first time in a GT3 car at the mountain was a bit daunting in some ways. Didn't get any testing and qualifying. Just step by step, kept my nose clean, and I was starting to catch the guys in front and made some good moves. And there's nothing quite like going up the inside of someone through the chase to feel like you're alive. So,
well, you get to share the rest of the day with your dad. He's here. Your parents are in the country. So happy Easter to all of you and enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it.
Well, Max Hoffer, just having a quick chat to your team. First time at the mountain, putting it on the top step. It's a pretty good way to debut here. But how are you finding now? Second race in this car, second race around the track. How are things evolving?
Looking good right now. Liam is doing a mega job. I tried to stay as close as possible to the leading Mercs, but quite difficult this weekend. But yeah, it is like it is. But Liam, my AM driver, is doing a pretty good job. So we're catching the leaders, so things are looking good again.
And I just saw you before you were having a look at the data screens. Is there anything in particular that you're working on that you're keeping an eye out for?
Yeah, just watching Liam's times. So I'm happy, what I see.
All good. So hopefully we can get a bit warmer weather next time you come. Will we see you back here at the mountain or back here in Australia racing?
I hope so, yeah. I expect to get a 10 this weekend. As everybody says, yeah, Australia is so hot and so sunny, but I hope I will come back and to bring my sunglasses then and use them.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you.
Max Hoffer, he's been really impressive. Now, big story, that Porsche was driving through pit lane and it was black flagged, drive-through penalty for being short on their mandatory pit stop time.
So that was that 1 second that we saw on the timing screen. So, wow.
Bugger.
That's such a shame.
It's the little 1%ers, isn't it, in this case, literally, that has really cost them. So they had 110-second mandatory pit stop time. They were a second short to drive through penalty, 32 seconds thrown away.
Yeah, I know, and it sort of comes across as it's a very harsh penalty, but the stewards have to draw a line in the sand. Even if it's half a second, whatever it is, the penalty is exactly the same, because if if you give him a 5-second penalty out there, he might have been able to jump another car and extend his lead by 5 or 6 seconds, and you don't really get penalised that much at the end of the day. So to do the drive-through penalty, they've just got to draw that line in the sand, and if somebody doesn't get that right, then it's bad luck.
Luckily for him, though, he actually hasn't lost a position. So we
lost one spot. He dropped back behind Liam
second?
Talbot, so he was second, about 8 seconds behind Jeffrey Ibrahim, and closing, by the way. But now he's back to third. But I think he's come out in front of Abu Ibrahim in the 88 Mercedes. So
speaking of closing, Liam Talbot is absolutely hauling. 4 seconds a lap over the last 2 laps. Jeffrey Ibrahim throwing 209s at it, and Liam throwing 205s at proceedings to make it very interesting indeed.
Steering as well. There'll be a drive-through penalty for car 96. So that's Mike Bailey. And that is for exceeding the pit lane speed limit.
Did we find out what happened yesterday with Mike?
He got a drive-through penalty for the contact at turn 1.
Right. Carlos Reindler dished out the penalty.
Carl, if you're listening, take it easy on the guys.
Carl does listen to the commentary, actually, in Motorsport Australia Race Control. We're talking about Carl Reindler, who's the driver standards advisor for the category this weekend.
I think that was fair enough, though.
Yeah.
Hello, Carlos.
Yeah, absolutely.
He does a great job.
Yeah. In between moonlighting between being the medical car driver at Formula 1 races.
Yes, and thank you for the gig last week, Carl. Yeah, pretty cool job driving medical car for Formula 1.
Did you get a gig out of that as well, did you?
Oh, he got me a gig down at F1. Just nice. I thought I was down there, I may as well do something with the time. So
nice work. Now, the Porsche working its way through traffic, and we'll just confirm, actually, Yasser, as they've crossed the timing line, so he's actually lost much more time than we thought. He's in 6th.
Yeah, that is a big loss. So it didn't show up initially, and then, down the order. So he'll be furious, but it's your job now to recognise that this is what it is, and you just have to do the exact same as what you were doing before. Hit your marks, get to the end of the race, and wherever you will finish up is where you'll finish up now. So can't let that get to you too much.
This is building to a grandstand finish because Liam Talbot is reeling in our race leader. That is the margin first to second. The Audi is flying, and Jeffrey Ibrahim is going to be under pressure very, very soon. Lap times as they cross the line. Ibrahim 208.3, Liam Talbot 205.6, taking big chunks of time out of the race leader. And this will be sooner rather than later that the 65 car gets to the back of Triple Eight.
Yeah, and it's not like Jeffrey hasn't responded either. He just went a second quicker than what he'd gone the last couple of laps. So this is on. There's enough time. There's probably 2 or 3 laps remaining. Well, I'd say at least 3. He's 2 seconds behind. He's 4 seconds a lap quicker. This is going to be on.
And this is exactly how this championship and the pit stop times meant to work. Everyone comes together right at the end of the race, and we see an exciting finish. But Liam Talbot, 205 is not mucking around for even. For a pro driver, that's fast as well.
Yeah. Well, 206s used to be the magic number, didn't it? And now, if that's his base lap, that's his stock ball.
This is for position. This is for third. Final step on the podium in the race as Jeff Emery gets up the inside of Abu Ibrahim, and he's got Brad Schumacher looking to work through as well. So we'll follow the battle for the lead and this fight for third position. It's all teeing off at the end, as it always does in Fanatec GT World Challenge. They build and build and build across 2 races. So there's a real battle on with Emery, and looking to get himself onto the podium on his comeback driving GT3 racing. Leaders exiting the elbow, they're locked together. And that Audi will start picking up a toe from the Mercedes AMG. But if there's one thing that Jeffrey Ibrahim's got up his sleeve, it's the fact that the Mercedes is very good at punching out of slow corners, and it's traditionally very good in a straight line.
I think if he's going to make a move, he's going to have to do it maybe into the elbow or into a braking zone. If he can get close enough, which I think he can, look at that corner speed that he can run compared to the AMG.
He's close enough.
He's so close now, and I bet he's on the flash as well, trying to intimidate. I know Jeffrey Ibrahim he said his eyes forward and he won't be looking in the mirror, but there's not much choice now. There's a green and white Audi right behind him, and we're closing in the last couple of laps, so he's going to have to start positioning the car to make it a little bit difficult. And boys, we've got lap traffic in front of us just to make it a little bit more tricky for the Ibrahim.
And probably 2 laps to go So Ibrahim needs to get past Ash Samadi here as quickly as he can. It needs to happen here at turn 2, and that will force Talbot to go the long way around at Griffin's Bend, and there's no room to do that. So Ibrahim can hold on for just a little bit longer.
It appears that Liam is particularly quicker in the middle sector, and as we know, there's not really a great deal of passing you can do. So Jeffrey can make Liam's life really difficult over this next few moments.
Where do we think it's going to happen?
Somewhere on the track.
Put your money on it.
Somewhere
Put your money on it. I reckon the elbow.
It could happen at McPhillamy the way they're going, because he's all over the back of the AMG. Having a look down the inside at the metal grate, that doesn't happen.
You've got to be patient. Just let it. He's quick enough, it's going to come to him. Just wait for the moment to present itself. Don't force the issue.
Brock Skyline.
He's got to, though. There's only 2 laps to go. He's got to take an opportunity. He's going for the double win this weekend.
I like the differing approaches my
right.
2 colleagues are taking in this one.
Elbow.
Great drive out of the dipper. Oh, there's no room through the S's. It's got to be at the elbow. Ibrahim will defend. He's got the right to do that. The Audi will get good drive out of the corner, taking the traditional racing line.
If we stay on board here, it'll be interesting to see the straight line and how much the Audi can reel out of him. If he pulls out and he can interrupt that wind going over the rear wing with the side draft, as we see right there, he'll get a run on him.
Very close. Round the chase on the outside, and Liam Talbot gets in front.
NPC boys disappointed with that. Look at that. That's excellent work.
They almost traded carbon fibre down Conrod there. It was really close.
That took a little bit of trust between the two to get through the chase. Super fast through that corner. Like that's very brave stuff there. Hey, boys, I just wanted to mention, you know, Max Hoff, I think it is, partnering with Liam Talbot. They're going to have similar hairstyle. Maybe that's the hairstyle we require to be part of that team. That's what you're doing wrong, Joshy.
I don't know if you could rock the Max
I'm
Hoff.
missing a trick. Look, I don't know, man. I've tried everything I can. I've you know, just a battler out there battling. So, Troy, if you're listening down at NPC, give us a gig, man.
We can see Liam now already pull a nice little gap, clearly a lot faster. So, basically, you know, 2 laps to go, 1.5 laps. He's just got to bring it home now.
And it's been a tough couple of laps for the JMR 888 crew because Abu Ibrahim's dropped to 5th. So Jeff Emery has cleared him and Brad Schumacher followed him through. And in fact, Yasser Shahin has just jumped up in front of the 88 as well. So the Porsche on the comeback trail back to 5th position, getting some good championship points out of a challenging day with that drive-through penalty.
They'll be pumped with this. This has been a really strong weekend for those guys. You can't really start your year off better. And to do it around here, probably the most difficult venue to come to produce a lap time and a stint and a race and an overall package, that's as good as it gets. That really sets your year up.
The only person that's probably disappointed in that team with this result is going to be Fraser Ross.
Well, he'll
be sitting at home watching this. I know he will. And he will be bleeding that he's not part of this right now.
I've seen him messaging you, Crailsy. He's giving you the update. So, yeah, I'm sure he's got the streamers going. Or
absolutely. No, he's their biggest supporter.
One team, one dream, right?
Absolutely.
And yet it'll be Liam who takes home the trophy. So, you know, he'll take that to the mantelpiece, back to the family up in Queensland. It's been a huge drive. Probably one more lap to go.
And a great effort by Prince Jeffrey to hold him off for that long. I mean, you could see on the timing screens, he was obviously given the message, you're being caught. He has gone and extended himself to go a lot faster than what he was going. So that's a tough job in itself. So an excellent job by him to get to that point.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Brock Feeney, how good has that kid been in these cars? And it's one thing to be great in the supercar, which he is, and he got a win last weekend, which is awesome, and clearly building a really impressive career there. But to drive these cars as well, when all of his background has been in a supercar platform, he's adapted to these things so quickly.
I think it's all the time. The younger generation, I sound really old when I say that, but spend on the simulator. You know, they're always on these sims, you know, learning new circuits, learning new cars, and he has jumped in these GT3 cars and just shown everybody how it's done. Really super impressive, not just here in Australia, but you know, the Bathurst 12-hour, he took the lead in that car, he qualified it, and basically was on the front, you know, one of the quickest cars there, almost took pole position, which is very impressive for a guy that doesn't spend a lot of time in these cars compared to, you know, the factory drivers that are in them every weekend.
Just confirming this lap plus one more to go. So nearing the end of the final GT World Challenge race of the weekend. This is the battle for 3rd and 4th position, with Brad Schumacher applying the thumb screws to Jeff Emery. It's an all Audi fight. Jeffrey Ibrahim a long way up the road. These guys 30 seconds off the race lead, but what a battle this is. Good drive from Schumacher. He's in the AM class, so he gets his own trophies without having a pro driver aboard, and that's a choice that Brad has made. But he's up against Jeff Emery, who you mentioned before, TD, has been exemplary in these cars and just about everything else. I mean, that guy's got a Bathurst 1000 start to his credit in a supercar. So Jeff goes all right. This has been a really good drive from Brad Schumacher.
Yeah, he'll enjoy a cold one at the taps of the Reckless Brewery tonight, and I'll give you the hot one. He's earned it.
I'm surprised he doesn't live there, though his place is on Mount Panorama, so it's a pretty good place to live. He's got a good relationship with the boys at Reckless. Boys and girls down there. Great Bathurst business. And Liam Talbot now will start the final lap of the race.
Leading by, what, 3 seconds, last lap, bring her home safe, mate. It's a pretty good feeling, isn't it?
He still punch him out, quite good lap times there, so he's not really backing off that much. He could afford just to, you know, turn the dial down a little bit in this last lap and just enjoy the lap around Bathurst. But these cars are so rewarding that the faster you drive them, the better they feel.
This has been a huge stint from Liam as Schumacher gets down the inside of Emery. That is 4th position, but Jeff will get great drive out of Murray's, and the 2 Audis will box on the run down into Hell Corner. So the old over-under was a big send from Schumacher, and it'll pay off for Emery because he got the switchback manoeuvre and was able to retake that spot. This is for the final step on the race 2 podium.
They really need to clear that Ferrari before they get to turn 2, which I don't think they're going to do. So
it's going to be a pain.
This could play into Schumacher's hands here a little bit. Oh no, it's okay. All is well. Jeff Emery, though, he's going to have his mirrors full of Brad Schumacher all the way across the top of the mountain. And we know how aggressive Brad is around this place. He's going to have a crack. He doesn't care that they're both driving Audis.
You're right, he doesn't care.
They're not really teammates, though, are they?
No.
So I know Brad has raced for MPC before, but now he runs his own show. So same cars, same strengths and weaknesses, but Brad's got the eyes on for this last lap.
Yeah, and really proud of the fact that he does do things independently and they run their own operation. We told the story yesterday that for them it was an arduous 1-minute drive from the workshop to the racetrack to get the car. It took them much longer to load it up into the truck and get it here than it did to actually drive to the circuit. What a performance this has been, though. Yesterday was good, sure, but this has been outstanding. Young Max Hoffer on debut has done the job as the pro driver, but Liam Talbot has strung together a really impressive weekend. And there's the checkered flag, and there's the win, and a clear championship lead in Fanatec GT World Challenge, powered by AWS. Liam Talbot wins the season opener in comprehensive style. What about this fight for 3rd? Emery under pressure. There's got to be a last quarter lunge here. Or maybe the chase. There is.
Pull it up?
Schumacher gets him
Fair
with
play.
a couple of corners to go. The local legend's going to do the job and get himself onto the outright podium. Brad Schumacher right at the very end in front of friends and family. And Emery bowls wide. He gets 3rd on the final lap.
I reckon Jeff will be upset with himself there. He didn't quite cover off. I think he thought Brad was far enough back, but left the door open and Brad shoved it down the inside and made it work. So yeah. Great effort there. Nice recovery from Yasser Shahin as well to finish in P5 after that pit stop infringement and drive through.
Good race, entertaining stuff. I love the way they build and you just never know who's going to win until you get the AM drivers in the car at the end and they go to battle. So Audi, what a start to the championship. It's been a tough run for them, and Triple 8 car, I wonder if they've missed the pit gate.
Oops.
On Mountain Straight.
Ah, that'll get you every time, that will.
Just keep going. They'll be right.
Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure they have. So he's going to have to do another lap. He might get a little rep round for that. Carl Reinler might have to go and catch up with the boys at Triple 8 and issue I don't think he'll get a penalty, surely.
Should be okay with that. He'll just miss that entry gate to the back of the paddock. So confirming results in race 2, Liam Talbot did the business at the end and got his second race win of the weekend. Triple Eight next, and Brad Schumacher with a last lap pass on Jeff Emmerich to get fourth. Porsche with a drive-through penalty, probably a case of what could have been. It could have been Porsche on Mercedes at the end instead of Audi. Might have thought the way that was playing out, but solid points for Yasser Shahin and Garnett Patterson. Abu Ibrahim 6th. Down the page, Hobson and Bailey across the line in 11th. Marcel Zalou at 12th. Sergio Perez and Jeff Taunton wins the Invitational class. So this is how race 2 played out. It was a Mercedes AMG front row at the start, but it sure didn't end that way. Feisty stuff on the run into turn 1 at the start of the second hour of racing for Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, and it was a confident Jamie Whincup early in the race who swept around the outside and grabbed the race lead.
Yeah, super aggressive at turn 1, but they recognised that Feeney was a little bit quicker as the race went on and swapped positions there, and Feeney disappeared into the distance. Those tyre pressures definitely a little bit too high for Jamie in that early stint.
2 Triple Eight cars pitted together, but for one, it was a longer pit stop trying to get a seatbelt attached, so that handed the advantage to the Triple Eight. Yasser Shahin was on the move quickly. This was on the outlap, out of pit lane, sliced down the inside at the elbow and was able to grab second. Unfortunately for EMA Motorsport, a drive-through penalty for a shorter pit stop meant that they had to spend 32 seconds transiting the lane and unfortunately weren't able to get themselves on the podium. This was the fight for the podium, and this was the fight for the lead. Liam Talbot with a toe and then a side draft and then a pass at the kink and got himself into the race lead. Comprehensive drive, Tony D'Alberto.
Yeah, very, very good from Liam Talbot and that whole team. Fantastic effort all weekend.
And that was the checkered flag. Liam Talbot and Max Hoffer get the victory. Outstanding stuff for those two. My thanks to the two co-commentators. Nice job by you two today. The Shannon's car on top at Mount Panorama, and while we've got a break and while we celebrate that race, our friends at Shannon's have got a great competition. Check this out.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Shannon's are offering a trip for 2 to London for the 2023 Goodwood Revival and an all-new Indian motorcycle Scout Bobber. Visit shannons.com.au to find out how you can win.
Yeah, get yourself involved in that. It's a great competition. The Shannon's car wins and they're giving away some cool stuff as well. Plenty of cool stuff coming your way on Stan Sport. And then there were 8 because the UEFA Champions League quarterfinals kicks off Wednesday on Stan Sport. It's the only place to watch every match ad-free in 4K UHD, live and on demand. On the home of the UEFA Champions League, it's only Stan Sport.
They're in the quarterfinals again. It's held out with its turn. Raheem Sterling for Chelsea. Scores. Pure class. No way. No way. Brilliant shot. Can you believe it? Oh, that's an absolute ripper.
Right, let's celebrate the opening race of Fanatec GT World Challenge powered by AWS. To celebrate, here's Chris Stubbs.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're down here joined by Yasser Shahin, if I can just grab him as he's debriefing there alongside Garnett. Come in, Garnett. You're a big part of the team for the weekend. Third for the round to start your season. How is that?
Mate, every day at the racetrack's a good day, so I'll take it.
Garnett, for you, joining up with Yasser and his title defence, how was it?
Yeah, always good fun. Obviously, we're disappointed with the penalty. That's our fault, but the win was available today and we could have won yesterday as well. So happy in a way to start the season, but disappointed at the same time.
Well done, boys.
Cheers. Thanks.
I'll grab Brad Schumacher. We'll get Brad to come on over as well. And if I can just jump in there with Brad, sorry. Brad, that race, the finish there was just outstanding. Third for that race. Well done. You put on a show.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to put a show on for all the fans out there. And it's nice to finish off on the outroad podium again as an AM driver against these pro guns. So we're super happy with how it's worked out for us here this weekend in Bathurst. And I hope I've done all of my home fans proud.
Sure have, and Reckless Brewing. Enjoy a drink tonight. Well done.
Absolutely. Thank you, mate.
All right, we'll head along. They got the double. What an awesome start to your championship season. Liam Talbot, first of all, Mate, outstanding drive. Well done.
Oh, the car felt mega. Awesome to work with Max. Handled the car over in a good position and just had a bit of fun out there.
Talk us through that last race, because the effort from you, particularly, I know you're gonna say how good Max was, but your driving was outstanding.
Oh, thanks, Stubbsy. Just having fun, you know, like it's an amazing car to drive. We could tune it up a bit more and be faster, but we're fast enough. So, yeah, can't be a bad day when you win 2 races.
And Max, the team have put out a pretty impressive machine. You've enjoyed yourself this weekend?
Yeah, sure. It was nice to get to know all this bunch of people first and work with them. It's a pleasure, and to finish off the weekend with 2 wins. So what do you wish for more? Huh?
You've put on a great show. Happy Easter, and we appreciate you being here.
You too, man. Thank you.
Brilliantly done, guys. Great race to lead into the High-Tech Oils Bathurst 6 hours. The mountain goes quiet for now. Not too long from the big race here today. But, of course, Stan is the place to be in 2023. And next on the calendar, we head back to the island.
Be at Phillip Island, May 12 to 14 for round 3 of the Shannon Speed Series. The home of Australia's premier motorsport categories is bringing you all the big guns. TCR, Trans Am, S5000, an awesome array of GTs, there's V8 touring cars and more. Head to motorsporttickets.com.au to get yours now.